David and Goliath. In the days of King Saul, the Israelites found themselves in a fierce battle with the Philistines. The two armies faced each other across a valley, preparing for a decisive confrontation. From the ranks of the Philistines emerged a giant named Goliath. Towering over 9 feet tall, clad in heavy armor and wielding a massive spear, Goliath struck fear into the hearts of the Israelite soldiers. Every day for 40 days, Goliath would come forward and challenge the Israelites to send a warrior to fight him in single combat. His booming voice echoed through the valley, taunting the Israelites and their God. But no one dared to face the giant. In a small village nearby lived a young shepherd named David. He was the youngest of 8 brothers, and his main duty was to tend to his father's sheep. One day, his father, Jesse, asked him to take food to his brothers who were in the Israelite army. David arrived at the battlefield just as Goliath was issuing his daily challenge. David was shocked to see the fear in the eyes of the Israelite soldiers. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? David asked. His brothers scolded him for leaving the sheep and meddling in matters of war, but David was undeterred. Word of David's boldness reached King Saul, who summoned the young shepherd. David told Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul was skeptical, but David recounted his experiences of protecting his sheep from lions and bears, trusting in God's deliverance. Saul relented and offered David his own armor, but it was too heavy and cumbersome for the young shepherd. Instead, David chose to face Goliath with what he knew best. He took his staff, selected 5 smooth stones from a stream, and armed himself with his sling. As he approached Goliath, the giant looked down at him with disdain. "Am I a dog, that you come at me with sticks?" Goliath roared. He cursed David by his gods and vowed to feed his flesh to the birds and wild animals. David replied with unwavering faith, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands." As Goliath moved closer to attack, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag, he took out a stone, placed it in his sling, and hurled it at the giant. The stone struck Goliath on the forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. David ran over, stood over Goliath, took hold of the giant's sword, and cut off his head. When the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they turned and ran. The Israelites pursued them and won a great victory that day. David's faith and courage had triumphed against overwhelming odds, and he became a hero among his people. In time, David would go on to become one of Israel's greatest kings. But the story of his victory over Goliath remained a powerful testament to the strength of faith and the power of God. This timeless tale teaches us that with faith and courage, even the seemingly impossible can be achieved.